Do you want to curate the looks from spring 2022 into your closet? Today we're doing spring shopping at Saks. Before I show you the looks, I want to preface that I'm showing you the looks and not the trends. This way you can curate the styles into your closet. Looks that lend to a personal style aesthetic and not a trend that won't survive past the season. Many of the looks were inspired by the 90s and early 2000s. Let's do a little rewind of all the looks from back then. Now let's look at what's on the runway. You'll see that there's something for everyone, regardless of your style aesthetic. So don't fall for fashion trends. Let's start with color palettes. Bold jewel tones, muted earth tones, neutrals, black and white, metallics. Let's have a look at the prints and patterns. Tweeds, patchwork, stripes, florals, graphics. Another look from the 90s and early 2000s was denim. The washes go from dark to light and every shade in between. The Canadian suit. As you can see, the Canadian suit is making a huge comeback. There's also printed denim. A big thing is DIY patchwork. Naked looks, not just a naked dress. This was from Calvin Klein's Spring 1997 show. Now you can see it from Chanel to Vera Wang to Off-White for Spring 2022. Athletic mesh, cutouts, fringe, lace, fabrications, denim, leather, metallic mesh, especially chainmail. Here's what was on the selling floor for Saks for Spring 1 delivery. This was the last week of March. Some of the styles did not hit the selling floor yet due to COVID and some shipment issues. I spoke to the salesperson at Brunello Cucinelli who confirmed this. Now let's go back to the selling floor of Saks. So I don't necessarily think that this is quite spring yet, but it is like spring fabric. So some of the spring merchandise is on the selling floor and there's still like a mixture of fall merchandise. As you can see, they still have some of their winter merchandise on the selling floor. Before we go any further, do you know the spring-summer season is split into 3 deliveries to department stores and online? The first delivery is at the end of March. This means all the styles hit the selling floor at the last week of March and sell through until the second delivery hits the selling floor. If the styles do not sell, it goes on sale. The second delivery is at the end of April. This means all the styles hit the selling floor at the last week of April and it sells through until the last delivery. At which point, anything that did not sell goes on sale. The last delivery is at the end of May. Sometimes this is called high summer. All the styles go on the selling floor at the last week of May. It sells through until June. Anything that does not sell goes on sale. From the end of June throughout the summer, any unsold spring styles get put on huge sales discount. So they have eyelet, they have seersucker, they have denim, there's some knits, there are some prints. And then here we have one of the spring trends, which is leather. So this is a leather vest. And then stripes is also making a big comeback for spring. And you can see there is stripes here. So we come here, we see Madras plaid, which is another spring trend. Denim again. We also have another spring trend, which is tweed. So that is from the 90s Chanel reworked for Acne Spinton. Here you have more denim looks for spring. And we come to Jason Wu chambray, which is another take on denim. There's some florals, again stripes. The spring is a thing. There's definitely a lot of florals for spring also. We come to one of my favorite brands, Etro. They are doing the geometrics and they also are doing florals for spring. This is their take on denim, doing a paisley print. Also matte jersey dresses. This is another take on a 90s trend. Matte jersey in the 90s was a big thing, so I think that Etro is bringing back. This is very Etro, just doing paisley denim. Etro is really known for very wild but very classic prints. Like here you have florals, then you also have a paisley. Here you have an ombre kind of effect. As you can see, stripes is a big thing for spring. I think every brand has some version of their stripe. So as you can see, a revival of the 90s is really showing up for spring of 2022. And we come to Issey Miyake, very classic Issey Miyake with their accordion pleating. There's a color blocking version. They did a watercolor tie-dye that's similar to Etro. Like this is very New York in the summer, black, and it is a tank dress. Another brand that's supposed to be making a big comeback in 2022 is Herb Leger. All the bondage dresses that were a big thing in the early 2000s is making a huge comeback. This is very reminiscent of the early 2000s with their bondage dress. It is a very hefty weight. So Herb Leger is making a comeback in 2022. So we're gonna see which influencer and which celebrity is gonna be wearing it for 2022. Zimmermann, the epitome of feminine aesthetic. This is pretty much what you expect from Zimmermann. Florals, frills, ruffles, floral appliques. This is Zimmermann doing florals in linen, more floral in a linen. More denim for spring, more stripe for spring. This is very Michael Kors aesthetic. I always say that Michael Kors is similar to Ralph Lauren, except that it's less Americana than Ralph Lauren, but it's still very Americana. Re-embroidered lace over a nude lining, very 2000. Watercolor done in a floral. More floral for spring. This is another thing that I saw a lot of on the spring run, right? Which is a new thing, is the caftan. So this is Lida Rose doing a caftan in a floral. Very classic denim. So not necessarily the micro mini for spring, but the shorts is a better option for spring. The Canadian suit, which is pretty much what I have. I don't know why this reminds me of a fruit bowl. I'm not sure if it's the colorway. Alta Sierra. What do they have? Yeah, more of the ombre watercolor tie-dye. This reminds me very, very much of an Oscar La Renta dress that they did in 2005, I think. Christopher John Rogers, the darling of every Instagrammer and celeb or influencer, is having this designer on the very tip of their mouth. If you don't have Christopher John Rogers in the tip of your tongue, do you even know fashion? So here was one of the looks I pulled, which is like a camo, animal, geometric, whatever you want to call it. And then the other one was a jewel tone. Remember this one? That was a subdress. And then there was another look that I pulled, which was this, the leather. That's the one I want for spring. That's my lounge wear. That's my work from home at leisure. Lower piano, very classic. They don't do like a huge collection, and they don't do like a lot of design details because what they spend primarily on is money on the material used. So Loro Piana, if you don't know, they actually have a fabric division and a sweater yarn division. I see Ralph Lauren is doing some version of an ikat, which is a way of weaving the fabric into this kind of pattern. We're finishing up at Saks, and we're right now sitting at the lounge area at Ralph Lauren, and we're trying to figure out what to get for lunch today before we head out to the other stores around Rockefeller Center. Kind of want to see what's out there for spring of 2022. Saks do not have all their spring one delivery yet. I think they might have only like 40 to 50% of their spring merchandise, so we might come back next week or in 2 weeks, and then we'll see what else they have here at Saks. Check out the link for part 2 where I show you how to check the fit of the styles when trying on clothes.